So I was curious to know, when you were thinking about this project and then getting the ball rolling, what did you sort of think about what success would be to you and to the council?
Yeah. So I think, we started off with a good amount of internal talking, and all of us had stories of engagements that we found frustrating, and often it was utility companies and other things that we went to. Utility companies, actually, probably power companies, fared quite well. Most people said in this day and age, I can just go onto my phone, I can see my power consumption, I can adjust my direct debit, I can see what I've paid, I know what I need to pay. Telecoms companies, probably not so well. Fine when everything was going well and you wanted to check your account balance, but actually moving house, porting numbers, a lot of people started to get very frustrated. And lots of occasions where they wanted to throw computers out of the window, and then you get stuck in endless loops with bots that you can't escape from, and then when you get through to a human, if you ever do, you get pushed around from pillar to post. And then council really fared worse than all of that. I mean, it's really difficult. You get a receptionist, but the receptionist can't help you because we haven't got systems that put the information in front of the right people to be able to help, and really that's what the community said. And I probably put it nicely than a lot of the community did, but they said, we fundamentally don't like councils. We know we have to have them, but we have to pay you money. PAYE comes out through your pay and nobody really notices that, but you get an invoice from council, and while it's a tax, it's a different mechanism, it's a bit more noticeable.
They're not really shopping around for councils, are they?
No, that's right. And actually, most of the time, we don't worry about our water until we turn the tap on and it doesn't come out, or we flush the toilet and something doesn't disappear. But thankfully, that doesn't happen very often. So it's kind of a little bit under the radar, under the ground. We don't particularly see it, but we kind of feel it when we have to pay the bill. And then on top of that, the other stuff we do, a lot of it is regulatory. So you want to build a garage, but you kind of my property, why should I have to go and get a consent? But you do, and you've got to have some kind of rules and regulations around in the society. But council often is the enforcer in that space. So often what we're doing is we're gathering consent fees, we're making people do things that they a lot of the time don't want to do. And the worst thing you can do is make it difficult for them to do them. If I need you to give me money, let's make it as easy and as seamless as possible. Let me do it at 6 o'clock in the evening when I'm sat on the couch watching the news, not have to take a day off the farm to trek into Fairley to deal with somebody on the customer service who can't help me because she hasn't got access to the information in the system, and she can't ring the officer because they're on the road or they're not in that day, and because we're a small council, only one person does one job. I mean, it just it's not difficult to understand why people get pissed off, and I think we all deal with government departments and all deal with councils, and this is not an MDC problem. This is a global issue, probably, in this sector.
And I suppose that's where some of the sort of less tangible things like reputation and word of mouth really start to matter.
We had some great feedback from people. They talk about what other people are doing, and they said don't do gimmicks. That we tendered for a rubbish contract, and the company that was successful said we can give you an app and you can see where the rubbish truck is, and we said well that's cool, but what for? And they were like, well, you know where the truck is. I'm like, well, how does that help me? I'll put my bin out in the morning, I go to work. And then they said, well, you'll know where it is relative to your street. And I said, well, if I don't know whether what's the street before me, what's the street after me, I can't possibly do anything with that information. And then we said, but what if, because this happened, the rubbish truck eats all the bins one day and I haven't got a bin, what can I do then? Oh, nothing through the app, you'll have to ring CAB. I mean, you're like, well, so telling me a whole bunch of stuff that's actually we're doing it just because we can do it. And we got that message really clearly. Don't give us gimmicky stuff. Our phones and our lives are full up of gimmicky stuff that has no value. Give us stuff that just makes when we come to council, we want to be in and out fast. When we come to your website, we want to be in and out fast. We want to pay something or find something, and we want to go and watch telly or play golf. We don't come to your website for entertainment.
I love that. I mean, this just feels like the most perfect segue to think more about the discovery process, because this is very much the sort of, I guess, analysis and questioning that we apply as we move through this thing. So